Are learning more about that deadly collision between an SUV and a tractor trailer near the Mexican border. The Border Patrol saying the Ford Expedition was one of two vehicles yesterday morning that were smuggling migrants. Both cars came into the U.S. through a hole in the border fence. One car, a Suburban carrying 19 people, caught fire. Everyone escaped and was then taken into custody.
The Ford Expedition, crammed with 25 people inside, continued driving until the collision. Christina Gonzalez, she joins us now live from the border and right down there in Calexico with more. Christina.
Yes, we're actually about 8 miles south of where the collision happened in one of the many migrant camps that are actually along the border. If anyone has a vested interest in finding out how these people are doing, it's these people who've been trying to follow up. I did talk to the Border Patrol today. We did go to the location where that opening of the fence is. We're going to show it to you. What they're not showing us yet is a surveillance video they say they have of that particular Ford truck. We're waiting for that. Here's what we can tell you so far. Flowers and crosses now mark the spot where a semi-tractor slammed into a Ford Expedition crammed with 25 people inside. 13 are dead. 13 others were transported to hospitals where some remain in very serious condition. The vigil crosses were brought here by immigrant activist Hugo Castro.
I went on my break at noon. I went on my break as soon as I could. I brought some crosses that were made by deportees.
You're not surprised that they put 25 people in the back of a vehicle, because this is sadly not unusual, is it?
No, it's not unusual that people profit with the pain of victims of forced migration.
Immigrants forced to look for work, like the many he shelters at a camp on the Calexico-Mexico border. Homeland Security investigating this opening on the fence east of the crash site, which they say has surveillance images of a truck similar to the Ford involved in the crash coming through that morning. But they insist they were not chasing the vehicle when it crashed with the semi. Now, while NTSB is now helping CHP with the crash part of the investigation, the Mexican consulate in Calexico is dealing with the victims. At least 10 of the dead are Mexican nationals. 2 are from Guatemala. Castro says that every day he helps shelter migrants, some legal, some not, who cross to work.
Migrants are crossing the border around, they have to wake up around noon, around 12 a.m. to start at 12:30. Crossing the border, wait for 3 hours, and then cross the border, and then wait to 5 a.m.
when they get picked up by vehicles to take them to the fields. Now, where the people in this SUV were going and the circumstances remains under investigation. But it seems they're part of a larger issue in a border where even larger and newer fences are getting breached with deadly consequences.
They are human beings dying, and we can blame it on the rain or whatever, but we have to be very specific. This is the consequence of inhumane immigration laws.
And they say that because they would like the border more open so they could come and work or escape some of the violence from some of these countries. Now, in terms of the victims, 13 dead. We have no additional fatalities today. Of the 13 in local hospitals, all of them seem to be improving. The Mexican consulate telling me they've been able to talk to almost all of them. Some are still not being able to talk. And they're not talking so much about the driver of the SUV or the driver of the truck. But everybody else at this point, what they're telling me is that they believe that they are from across the border. Mexico, Guatemala, they're still trying to figure it out, and that they will be able to stay pending their treatment and what is definitely a pretty big investigation. I'm Christina Gonzalez in Calexico. Back to you guys in the studio.
Christina, I know that the ages range from 15 to 53, so do we have any idea about that 15-year-old and if there were other teenagers, number one, and then also what about the cause of the crash that you're hearing today?
Okay, I'm glad you asked about that. Now, the main focus on the investigation is the stop sign. There was an actual stop sign, and they're trying to determine whether the vehicle, the Ford, actually stopped before that stop sign or ran it. Now, there were people saying that they were being pursued by the Border Patrol, but Border Patrol says they absolutely were not, and they're looking at video out in that area, although you can imagine they're big fields. Number one. Number two, the 15-year-old is in San Diego. He is pretty seriously injured. He is in stable condition. I understand he is one of possibly 3 people who are late teens, maybe 20s, but they're not releasing the ages just yet because, again, some of these people can't talk and they had no IDs. So I don't know if they are 18 versus 22, right. And that's why they're being very particular about the ages. But I do know the 15-year-old is hanging in there, and hopefully will get better.